Wish I knew it from the start that I'd had nowhere to run in the end. Wish I could find a way to part from this closed-minded path that never ends. But it's hard to leave when it's haunting me, you know it's hard to leave when it's haunting me, say you ain't going nowhere, you ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. It's so easy to reflect and overcomplicate it in my head. Looking back, but it's not easy to object and try to compensate for what was there, what I had, what I had. It's hard to leave when it's haunting me, you know it's hard to leave, it's haunting me, say you ain't going nowhere, you ain't going nowhere, you ain't going nowhere, you ain't going nowhere, nowhere.
Anyone can have a gimme, but it really gets interesting when you go for two. The Go for Two podcast starting now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Ooh, sorry about that.
We are back.
We're all celebrating just like the crowd right now.
Yeah.
It's episode 26 of the Go for Two podcast.
26. I can't imagine that.
Man, go ahead and name off some lists.
26. Famous 26s. Let's see. How about Rod Woodson?
Rod Woodson,
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon, yeah. I know Josh could tell us this one. Andrew McCutcheon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adrian Peterson.
And Wade Buggs.
Yeah. And
Is it Bugs or Bogues?
Boggs.
Boggs. Okay. Dang, I'm all jacked up right
And
now.
of course, the man who makes all the money, Darryl Strawberry.
Yep, Daryl Strawberry. It is episode 26, as we mentioned, guys. We got an action-packed episode for you today. I'm super excited about this. Nelson is currently not here right now, so that's why you see his picture. He's not frozen, but he'll be on here a little bit later. So this is everybody's favorite couch quarterback, Dante, here with my man, Don, the stats guru.
Yes, numbers don't lie.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully.
I think in most aspects they don't.
Yeah, and if you saw some of our stats that we posted this week, was definitely doing that meme from last week where we were gathering the numbers.
Yeah, he's gathering the numbers and putting them in his brain. He
Yeah,
doesn't even
yeah.
read. And also, special guest in the house,
Yes.
Josh Kamicha. Man,
What's going on, guys?
the guy from the Tennessee Titans that does all the video assistant guy. What is your official title? Is a video assistant production manager / over there dropping the fries in the basket, putting them in the fryer?
Just video assistants doing whatever the coaches and players need us to do so they can get ready and get prepared for the games on a weekly basis.
Yep. I don't know why I keep saying Kamicha. It's Karadeema.
Thank you.
My bad. I don't know.
It's
I
all
don't know
good.
where I came up with this name. Every time I see that,
Yeah.
it must have been like some character I named on a video game or something that had Kamicha. And yeah, Josh
you should.
Karadeema. Such a Such an awesome name, man. As you see, we don't have common names. McPherson is probably the only one, but how many cells do you know in the world? Not too many.
One.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the show, guys. We do want to go ahead and give a shout out to the sponsors, which we'll get into a little later. We got the Cabin Rental Store in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Go ahead, check them out there. Afloat Posters, the one and only Afloat Posters, is always
great posters.
Always here sponsoring and giving us the big checks. That's such a big joke. But go ahead and check out his posters. And then we got Stout Web Solutions. Anything you need as far as web solutions for your business, go ahead and check them out. We'll get into a little bit more about them. And then a new sponsor of the podcast today, Accelerated Graphics. We'll get into them a little bit later as well. So thanks for my man Jason Turner out there giving us a new sponsorship. And now we got 4 of those bad boys now.
Yeah, 4. I see.
So Donna, use this little smooth little voice. And,
yeah, we'll get to that later.
get to the good stuff later. So first thing we want to go through some of our favorite stats of last week. If you guys have been following us on the Facebook pages, Twitter, Instagram, we've been posting these all week long. We're going to continue to post these. Yeah. We want to be your number one source for good news as well.
Absolutely. Dante's putting in a lot of time and effort on these, so we hope you appreciate them.
I'm trying to get on Josh's level, man. You know what I'm saying? So we'll go through our favorite stats of the week. So I'll go ahead and start with you, Don. Let's go ahead and hit them up.
All right. The Titans are the first team in NFL history with a 350-plus yard passer, Ryan Tannehill. He had 364, and a 200-plus yard rusher, Derrick Henry, 212, in the same game. And I didn't pick this highlight just because Josh was with us today from the Titans. That was my pick of the week.
Yeah. I mean, how are they doing it, Josh? How are they doing it?
I mean, they're just feeding the ball to the King Henry, and they're rolling good with the play action. Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator, has got a real good game plan every week. Ryan Tannehill looks rejuvenated in this new system. So, yeah, I mean, offensive line's blocking great. Got a good, nice zone run blocking scheme. So they just got to keep it up. It's going to be a tough one this week, though.
I mean, they're actually my Super Bowl picks. So, I mean, like it's them and Tampa Bay. And I know they just signed Antonio Brown, which we could talk about a little later. But my pick's looking even better right now.
Yeah.
But I still got the Titans coming out. I just thought what you guys did at the end of the season was something special.
Yep.
Going in there and just smashing teams. Giving them the business.
Yeah.
And showing that, hey, next year we're coming out strong. Actually, has anybody ever gone and looked up Derrick Henry's stats in high school?
I saw some of those posted this week.
Have you seen that, Josh?
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like somebody created a player
like
on
45
Madden.
minutes away from mine.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like somebody created a player on Madden with like 99 everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely insane. So my stat of the week was CeeDee Lamb. I tried to tell you guys about CeeDee Lamb, man, during the draft. Eagles fans are just throwing up all over themselves because they shouldn't have gave up this pick. What are they doing? Don't you guys have Jalen Reagor?
Yeah, he's coming back here shortly. Busted up his thumb in a game. CeeDee Lamb would not have been my pick, but I hear you. I like Justin Jefferson better, but go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, you like Justin Jefferson better?
Yes, I did.
Well, I don't know what's going on with Adam Thielen out there, but CeeDee Lamb is the only rookie since at least 1950 with 5+ receptions in each of his team's first 6 games. Guys,
that's some numbers, man.
It is some numbers, but I mean, he's got Andy Dalton now, so I think Justin Jefferson might be. He's looking like the rookie of the year.
Yeah, he could be
if you really look in terms of numbers. But and then we'll actually get into who's possibly going to be the rookie of the year this year, and that's Nelson's pick for Joe Burrow, man. Yeah. Joe Burrow is now the 5th quarterback in the Super Bowl era with 1,500+ yards and multiple rush touchdowns in his first 6 career games. You know who he joins, man? Cam Newton, Andrew Luck, Patrick Mahomes, and Kyler Murray.
Never thought I'd see that name right there the first year, man.
I mean, that's a hell of a list to be a part of, man. Still, I think Cam Newton should have went to Pittsburgh, but the way that Ben Roethlisberger's looking right now, man, is he might be comeback player of the year.
Yeah, he might be. He's not done yet.
And I know your parents tried to force the Steelers thing off on you, Josh, like you were mentioning before the show. So
It wasn't a force. I gladly hopped on that train, and the first game I think I went to was in 1998. And haven't looked back since.
What does Yinzers mean?
If I could call my mom, I could let you know a little bit more about that. I mean, I grew up in Florida my whole life, but I just know that they're Yinzers, and it's all about the Yinzers. So
okay, I'll have to ask her about that one.
Yeah. So shout out to Allie McPherson, always coming through. That's Don's sister.
Don's sister, yep.
And Sean Evans, my man. We used to call him Sevens when we used to play Call of Duty back in the day. He said, "I see you, man. Long time no see. Hey, shout out to you. Thanks for coming through, man. Go ahead and share out the stream so we can get some more people in here." All right, so we went through the best stats, man, and that's partially the NFL right now. We didn't have anything for the NCAA. NCAA is kind of looking a little weird this year with all the divisions all being mixed up, but we got the Big Ten back.
Yeah, how about that?
I can't wait till the Pac-12 comes back.
Oh, I know.
Forks up.
Yep,
y'all
forks
see Don's
up.
hat, man? We picked them to win the Pac-12 this year. So hopefully this is going to be good for the teams that haven't rested up, especially the players from last year, or either this is going to be a bad thing because they haven't got the reps. So we'll see. And so, with that being said,
hey,
NCAA top 10.
Before you hit that, I'm trying to get an update on Yinzers. I'm talking to Josh's mom right now.
We'll get you an update on the Yinzers here pretty soon. NCAA top 10 week 8. Okay, we know the Big Ten is back, but Clemson's up there at number 1. How long are they going to be number 1 for? I think at halftime today, Syracuse was down by at least 2 scores. So since we started this, I haven't really looked at any of the games. So to go back to the Yinzer situation, we incoming. All right. A native inhabitant of the U.S. city of Pittsburgh in western Pennsylvania. I walked over to a table of Yinzers and instantly felt at home. Definitions from Oxford Languages.
There we go. Thank you, Beth. Appreciate it.
Hey, you heard it. Live and direct. Thank you for that, because I'm always confused when I see that. I know you guys are associated with the color yellow and black, and then Yinzers, and then don't you have like a little trolley that goes up like on a mountain or something? That's by like the river. Yeah. What is that called?
I'm not. Gosh, my mom's gonna kill me for this. Oh man, I've been on it a few times. I know.
Man, I just remember driving up and down those big hills when I'd go out there to visit.
Yeah, I know. I think my wife was out there. I was supposed to go.
It's the incline. The incline.
The incline, is that what it's called?
There's actually 2 of them. Okay. There's actually 2 inclines, but the most popular one is the Duquesne incline, and that's where you can go up. You can see like the point, and you get the baseball stadium, the football stadium, and then you can see all downtown and stuff like that.
Cool.
Gotcha. So my wife went to a Pittsburgh game a couple years ago. This is when the Jaguars were dominant, when they had Yannick Ngakoue, Calais Campbell,
Baltimore Ravens now,
Jalen Ramsey. When AJ Boye, I don't know why they let him go too. But when we had the whole team, when they had the whole shebang,
yes,
and we had Allen Robinsons and Allen Hurns, right?
Yep.
Boy, I wish I could go back. But check it out, right? So she was at that game, and I was supposed to go to that game, and I couldn't for whatever reason. And that's the game that Jalen Ramsey had like 2 picks, and then AJ Boye had one, and then somebody else had another one. I think Calais Campbell had an interception that game. They smashed up the Steelers, and they all came out of that game feeling a little sad. So all I asked her was to take a picture.
Yes.
Of Blake Bortles. She totally forgot because she was so mad. But look, where's Blake Bortles at right now? I think he's a free agent.
He's looking for a job right now.
I don't think he was that bad, but that's not a popular opinion whatsoever.
All right, back to the
NCAA top 10, guys. Clemson sitting there at number 1. Alabama's number 2.
Right.
Are we surprised? I mean, come on, really? Clemson and Alabama?
Not surprised.
We're looking at a national championship game right there. Now, this one is a little suspect, just from the way that they've been playing teams this year, and I think they're very beatable. I think Don has them losing today.
I have them very suspect to losing today. Yes, I do. We'll get to that.
Yep. Notre Dame at number 3. Georgia, number 4. With this climate, I don't know how they stayed number 4 with just 1 loss, but
right.
It's a little weird. Oklahoma State sitting there at 3-0. The Cowboys. Chuba Hubbard. And the mullet.
Chuba Hubbard's been doing it.
And the mullet. Texas
That's
A&M, 3-1. That's kind of surprising. I just want Jimbo to come back. We should have paid for these damn facilities like you wanted.
Yep.
Bring them back. I think there's a little gray area in there for, and maybe Josh, you might know since you were in that atmosphere a little bit. What did you think about Jimbo Fisher?
I love Jimbo personally. He's a good guy. Definitely wanted to win and wanted to do everything he could to win. I think some things. I think that relationship just soured a little bit. I mean, there's things that Jimbo could have done better on the inside. There's things that the boosters and the administration could have done better. And I mean, I'm always a Jimbo supporter and kind of root for A&M on the side when I can.
I'm right there.
I still know a lot of some of the coaches that are over there and some of the staff members that were on that team. But yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things where it was almost. It kind of needed to go separate ways, unfortunately. I wish they could have worked out because I don't know if Florida State's in the position that they are now, but it is what it is, and Jimbo still beats Florida, so that I can at least be happy about.
That is very true. I mean, he does beat Florida. That's yes. One thing about it, and he does beat Miami. That's one thing about it.
He does.
Yeah, I didn't really have a big issue with Jimbo. Actually, to be honest, all those press conferences, the way that he got that team hyped up. I mean, there's a video before I think it was the last year he was there going into the ACC championship. I think you guys can YouTube it where he's talking to the team. And no, that was Jameis's last year, so this was the year before his last year, or did he have 2 years after that?
Two years before.
Yeah,
2 years.
And he was in the locker room getting those guys hyped up, man. He was like, see a lot, see a little, see a little, see a lot, see nothing. I think that was his kind of his motto. So I would have, man, if I could go back, I would have loved to play for Jimbo Fisher. You know, if I had the opportunity, I would have loved to play for him. He seemed like he was cutthroat when he needed to be. That's just because he wanted to get the job done. I don't know how many times that I was not a big fan of E.J. Manuel. Christian Ponder I was, but E.J. Manuel just kind of always got on my nerves the way that he used to play. But I remember being at Wake Forest the 2 years that I did go down there. I was working for a restaurant at the time, and we always got tickets to go to the Wake Forest games.
Okay.
And shout out to Michael Campanero.
Absolutely.
But yeah, he always used to grab E.J. Manuel by the face mask. You could see him yelling at him like, "Do your damn job." But I didn't see that with Willie Taggart. I didn't. I was hyped for him to be the coach just because he was from Tallahassee, but I didn't see that with him either. Did you have time to work with Willie Taggart at all, or were you just there?
Yeah,
during the Jimbo era?
No, I was there. I left Florida State video in the summer of 2017. So I was there for the first spring ball with Willie Taggart, and he's not the guy I would have hired. And I was saying that when Jimbo left, and he was a hot name out there. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's just me. I wish. I mean, as a Florida State alum, I wish it would have worked out. And but hopefully Mike Norvell can get the job done and bring us back into some sort of good graces and we can get them going again.
It seems like he's got that team going now.
Mm-hmm.
But as much as they wanted to say about Willie Taggart coming in and having a disaster in his hands, those players are still really talented. Yeah. He just didn't know how to deal with it. I think personally, looking from the outside in. Now, Mike Norvell is trying to do a lot with a little. But I think next year is really what we're going to see a big turnaround. I don't think this is our year. I tell people I'm the most honest Florida State fan you'll ever meet. When Willie Taggart was there, remember I told you, I was like, this is probably the year we're not going to make a bowl game, and it's going to be really sad to see.
Yep.
And damn if I wasn't right. But yeah, talking about Texas A&M, we had to talk a little bit about Jimbo Fisher because I know Josh worked for them for a little bit. So at least we're on the same page as that. I love Jimbo, man. I just want him to come back. Like I said, we could have just got the boosters together to build them damn facilities like we wanted. I think that's really the reason why he was like, let's just get out of here while we can. Go to the old AD that was there, that he's worked with before. It's kind of a match made in heaven. Texas A&M has the best facilities in the country. We'll head over to Penn State at number 8. Again, asterisk next to that one.
Yep.
I don't know. It's so funny saying previous number 9 and then they move up.
They move up. Didn't play a game.
Didn't even play a game. How privileged is Penn State? Cincinnati, though, at number 9. Asterisk because of COVID. And then Florida drops one game. They dropped to 10. That was my pick this year to win the SEC.
Yes, it was.
So, a little weird, but I had my reasons why. I think Kyle Trask was just playing out of his mind when he came in last year. Put Felipe Franks to the side and told him, get out of here, young man. I got this. Actually, he was the young man, right? Because I think he was a true freshman. But, yeah, there's a reason why he's in the Heisman watch.
There you go.
Kyle Trask is sitting there at number 5, and that's totally fine. But it's hard to compete with the 4 guys that are 1 through 4 right now. Do you believe the hype with Trevor Lawrence, Josh?
Yeah, I do. Just straight up. I think I'm trying to think of a quarterback prospect that I would say has the best chance of success right away. I think you can compare him in his college years to what Jameis did at Florida State for his 2 years while he was there. Jameis lost one game while he was there, but
that is.
Trevor Lawrence is
a good stat.
Trevor Lawrence is special. He's special, man. I think he's gonna have success wherever he goes. I think there's potential that he could have better success at other situations, namely not at the Jets. But we'll see what happens.
I don't want him to go to Adam Gase, man. No. Adam Gase for his careers. From what we see right now. I didn't already have faith in Sam Darnold, but just thinking about it, man, you ain't gonna get anywhere with Adam Gase either. So yeah, I think that's where Trevor Lawrence is going next. He's going right to the Jets if they don't pick up and win a game, or the Jaguars, which is where the Jaguars ultimately wanted him, the way that they've done things. But Gardner Minshew hasn't let off the gas though, so I like Gardner Minshew. They just need to put some weapons around him. DJ Chark, what's his name? They have so many no-name receivers. DJ Chark, that's what they got.
That's
Tyler Eifert.
That's their name right now.
Yeah, their whole wide receiving core, their whole name is DJ Chark. Just take a letter. That's their receiving core. The Heisman.
That Laviska Shenault guy's not bad though.
Laviska Shenault. There you go.
He's starting to make some waves. He's not there yet.
Keelan Cole is who I was thinking.
Yeah, I'm hoping Shenault actually pours it on the rest of the year because he had a decent senior year playing ball, and I was really hoping to see him continue.
Yep. So Travis Etienne, if you look up his stats, it's probably the best running back of all time ever played for college. I wouldn't have never thought that, but I know Don's shaking his head just kind of like I'm shaking my head right now because that Clemson offensive line,
yes,
is something special.
That's the reason.
They push dudes 10 yards down the field.
Yep.
It's crazy. It's like he's got a whole offensive line that came straight from Iowa in the palm of their hand.
Yep, absolutely.
So let's just put Travis Etienne up there as kind of an asterisk kind of player. But he's been wrecking havoc. I can't take nothing away from him. You do have to have some talent to read defenses. So, but he's up there at number 2. So right there is your draft. 1, 2,
and 2.
And then possibly number 3 going out in the draft is Justin Fields, who I said was my Heisman winner.
Yes, he should have been.
With the asterisk.
Yes.
But if you really think about it, if they never took Justin Fields out last year, that dude would have won the Heisman.
I agree.
So he's sitting there at number 3. Hadn't even played a game. Mac Jones. This is another just reload the gun for Alabama right there.
Yes, it is.
People just come out of nowhere and just do well. It's absolutely insane. Others receiving votes. I know we talked a little bit about Kyle Trask earlier for Florida. He's doing his thing. Najee Harris is kind of inching up there too. I know he had a really good game last week. I think if they didn't have him, it would have looked pretty scary for Alabama because he did a lot, especially towards the second half of that game. If you guys had watched, and then one that just this one's kind of cool. Just to mention, Kyle Pitts for Florida.
Yes, nice to see a tight end on there.
So Don pulled up some crazy stats from last week. If you had to give a grade on college players, I know he was like number 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And who was number 1?
Oh man, I wish I could have.
Yeah, I know number 1 was somebody else, but I know Kyle Pitts was like number 2 in his draft grade at like a 93% or something like that. So with that being said, man, I think if Justin Fields can step it up, I don't even know if he could win at this point. But right now, it's hard to say that Trevor Lawrence is not going to win this thing.
Yeah,
outright.
That stat was the highest graded players in college football before the games this week. On offense, Kyle Pitts was graded at a 95.5. And on defense, Elijah Ponder out of Cincinnati was graded at a 92.7.
So the number 1 offensive dude graded highest is Kyle Pitts right now.
Yep.
So if you're looking at the Heisman, with Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne up there, Kyle Pitts is number 7. I don't think it's going to be likely that we're going to see a tight end do anything, but hey, they've only played 3 games.
If he can hang out there in the top 10, that's amazing.
Yep. So I know we got some of the games going on right now. Iowa State and Oklahoma State, they just kicked it off about an hour ago. Don't have any scores on that, but 3 of the games of the week, Iowa State and Oklahoma State at 3:30 today. They're both won 3 games apiece. Cincinnati and SMU.
That's going to be a good game.
I think that's the most interesting game and not as prestige of schools, but I think it's going to make big implications if Cincinnati can't come out and win over against SMU, because SMU's been fighting, man, especially that first game they came out the gun smoking. Michigan at number 18 and Minnesota at number 21. Asterisk game because of COVID. Again, I hate to keep saying that. But
Minnesota might just pull that one out.
You think so?
I think they might.
Hey, the guys up there at Minnesota have been upsetting people last year. So I don't get how you go from number 17 and number 9.
Yeah, and
just by upsetting somebody, but that was crazy last year.
Another game to keep in mind: the North Carolina State game. May be worth watching, number 14 and number 23. Mm-hmm. And then keep an eye on Notre Dame, like we said earlier. You wouldn't think so because they're playing the Pitt Panthers, but Pitt Panthers have the number 1 rushing defense right now, and Notre Dame, that's all they do is run the ball.
And you know what? I was a little high on Kyle Pitts.
They are a little sloppy, like you said.
Yeah, and I was a little not Kyle Pitts. I was a little high on Ian Book. Going into this year. I thought he looked decent last year. I thought that he, was just smashing teams. But you take Chase Claypool away from that offense, and now they're looking kind of suspect. But the things that they were doing, just like North Carolina last week to Florida State, though, just throwing it, and they were smart too, because Asante Samuel Jr. was playing right cornerback that game. They were tearing up our left cornerback all day long just by throwing deep passes his way, man. It was hard to see, but hey, that's just the name of the game. Yep. You want to win games, this is what you do. You pick out the weakest person and you bully them the whole game. So it's tough. It's so tough. So those are our games of the week there, guys. I would put a circle around that Oklahoma State game. Don was mentioning Iowa State. I was too at the beginning of the season. Yep. They could easily go in, and I wouldn't want to call it an upset, but they could go in and upset Oklahoma State. I don't think that would be too hard for them to do.
They'll make a game of it.
They will make a game of it.
Yes, they will.
So that kind of eases out our NCAA portion of the show. We want to go ahead and get into the NFL stat leaders. So one of the funnest parts of the show that Don comes and brings us like the top 3 from a couple different categories. As you can see in the background, he's going to mention these two, but we got DeAndre Hopkins and that man Derrick Henry, the Madden cheat code. I mean, and it's crazy because he runs upright. I mean, he just runs like this and is super fast. It's crazy, man. I've never seen a human being like that ever before. Is he a nice guy? Or does he just come in?
Yeah.
He is totally nice guy?
Yeah. I mean, he's from what I understand, he's come out of his shell the last 2 years a little bit. He used to be like one of the quietest guys in the locker room. Now he's starting to come out of his shell a little bit. But yeah, he's a great guy. He comes by the office on occasion. He'll come and just talk with us for a few minutes or whatever, or say hey before practice. Yeah, he's a good guy. Like, I mean, there's a lot of good guys on the Titans, and he's just one of many.
Yeah. It's almost seemed like he was like a really quiet guy too. I wonder how he was in high school for him to have those stats, man.
Yeah, those stats are just amazing to see.
I don't think if you look up like how many yards he ran, I think one year he ran for like 4,300 yards and like 52 touchdowns in one season. I'm like, he didn't even speak that many words as he ran for yards. I'm like, it's crazy. So let's go ahead and get into our stats leaders, Don.
All right, we'll hit the offense first. We'll start with passing yards.
Surprising.
And still holding on to the number one spot, but not for much longer. Dak Prescott. Of course, that stat we had last week, 45% of his yards were thrown when they were playing from behind. So take it for what it's worth.
That's crazy.
Matt Ryan, one of Dante's favorite quarterbacks, also playing from behind, I'm sure, 1843. And then Deshaun Watson at 1786.
I mean, who could ask for a better wide receiver to back up your other wide receiver in Calvin Ridley, though?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get two superstar Alabama wide receivers too often, and it's like, it's crazy.
Rushing yards in third.
And before you get to the rushing yards, bless Deshaun Watson's heart, man. He's been trying.
He has. He has.
For you guys to come out and squeak out a win on him.
Yeah, he's been trying.
Like, he tried his heart out, man. It's crazy.
All right. Rushing yards, even with an injury, hanging on to third right now is Dalvin Cook. Nice to see his name still there.
Yeah. I'm going to need you to critique my little highlight video I did of Dalvin Cook, by the way.
Yeah, you'll have to send that to him.
Yeah, I had to send that to Josh.
Okay. Now, in second is Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 505. And King Derrick Henry leading the way at 588.
It's not surprising, man. The dude just runs upright like an ice cream truck, and all the kids are following him. You know? Come back, please.
Don't forget the Titans have also had their bye week already.
Yes, they have.
You guys didn't even practice for 2 weeks.
Don't need to. Keep it fresh.
I know. It's crazy. Didn't practice and came in to start smashing people. Like,
wow.
Do we really need to practice? I don't know anymore. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, though, he did have a quiet couple of games right after that big game his first week. But now it's kind of when he came out last week, it was almost like he was pissed off that they signed Le'Veon Bell.
Exactly.
He was like, man, you got to take this off of me.
I was wondering what was going to happen with that.
Friendly competition is always good competition. That's what I always say.
Hey, I see we got a few questions up there on Facebook. Just keep them coming. If you have any questions for Josh, we're going to be getting to that segment here shortly. So throw up the questions. We'll be mentioning everybody here very shortly.
Yep. And just shout out to Kelly, Allie, Heather, hi wife, and Daddy Cell right there.
There's Dad.
Father Cell. Thanks for coming through.
Receiving yards, Stephon Diggs at 555 is in third. Robbie Anderson.
I always had to say my sister's ex.
566. 566. Now, the thing I got with Robbie Anderson, it's nice he's putting up the yards, but man, got to get some touchdowns here. Okay? Help my fantasy team out a little bit.
The funniest video this year by far still is when they won, I think it was like their second or third game, and he's in the locker room, and they're all singing Sweet Caroline, and he's sitting there like, and everybody knew the words. It's like, that's just the pure Robbie Anderson effect right there. He had no idea what was going on.
And the only 600-yard receiver so far this season, DeAndre Hopkins.
If Deshaun Watson had DeAndre Hopkins,
yeah,
didn't they play y'all?
Yeah.
They probably would have beat y'all.
I'm
not sure though. Man. I'm not sure, but Will Fuller did go off.
Well, they would have had different film study because they would have had a different receiver. So
there
see?
It is.
There you go.
the more you know.
That's right. All right. For tackles, let's hit the defensive side here. Eric Kendricks is still leading with 67 tackles. Like that.
Yep. Fantasy guy over here drafting Eric Kendricks.
Yep. Blake Martinez at 64. Now, that was before his Eagles game the other night, so he's probably at 105 by now.
Yeah.
And then Jalen Smith at 63.
He's like the best part of the Cowboys defense at this point. And Alden Smith, too.
Yeah.
It sucks.
All right, the sack leaders. Top two, no surprise. Aaron Donald, 7.5. Miles Garrett at 7.
Not surprising.
Another one, yes.
Yeah.
You can tell when they're on my fantasy team.
Yep.
And Jason Pierre-Paul at 5.5.
Jason Pierre-Paul's got half a hand and still giving out these sacks.
I know.
Leave this man alone.
And
You
interception. Go ahead.
play with IDPs in fantasy?
Yep. Hey, it makes it interesting, okay? And my reasoning behind it, right? We had this guy for like years and years and years.
Here we go.
Okay, that said, I don't want to play with you guys unless you guys just go back to total defense. We did it one year. I think he was like last. So I was like, are you sure? And then we went back to having defensive players again. So
Yep.
I think it's just like it's more to manage. I like it. Some of our games, we changed the points this year. So like you can score 500 points. It's really it's really hit or miss.
In the 300s have been the highest.
But if your player does bad, they
could.
really do bad. It's like if you score a touchdown with a quarterback, they get 6 points. They throw an interception, I think it's 4 points. So you better watch out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is different. With interceptions, we got a tie for first. Looks like it is Kendall Fuller from the Washington football team. And
So weird.
Yeah, Xavier Howard from the Miami Dolphins.
Xavier Howard is probably one of the most underrated cornerbacks out there, if you want my honest opinion, Don. One of the better zone
I'll have
cornerbacks.
to keep an eye on him, see how he's doing. Team total offense, take it for what it's worth. This was, as I said a couple shows ago, the most disappointing team so far this year, in my opinion, the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
They're still averaging 464 yards a game, and they lead the passing category at 359. That will slowly come down. I don't see them keeping that.
No.
And then rushing yards, the Cleveland Browns at 169.5 a game.
Well, they lost Nick Chubb too.
Right.
Now, so that
that's
slows
going
down.
to come down.
It's going to be the Titans up there now.
They're going to be right there. Yards allowed, Tampa Bay is leading, averaging 282 yards a game.
Surprising. Name one person on their defense.
I know.
I'll
How
wait.
about that?
And it can't be the defensive lineman. Oh, look.
Oh, there we go. Go ahead.
Yeah, Levante David.
Oh, yeah.
You got Devin
Levante
White.
David and Ndamukong Suh, Jason Pierre-Paul's on
Vita
there.
Vea's even hurt.
See that?
Yeah.
Quietly getting it done.
My Super Bowl pick.
The sack leaders, that would be the Pittsburgh Steelers with 24.
Did you hear the rumor about J.J. Watt? They
no.
might be trading him.
Oh.
The rumblings that I hear.
Ooh.
I've saw that from like 3 different sources already.
Okay.
But that would be crazy to have all the white brothers on one team. Isn't that a conflict of interest? Especially with TJ?
Can you imagine if they were together?
Man, that would be insane.
All right, we got a 3-way tie for turnovers. Baltimore Ravens with 6, Seattle Seahawks with 6, and the Tennessee Titans with 6.
Hey.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, though. Why'd y'all give up Logan Ryan?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not in the contract debate, so
I thought you was the GM
I like
too.
working for Logan. I liked filming Logan. Logan's a cool guy. I mean, we had little talks every now and then. Yeah, I mean, we could use a guy like Logan this year, but I think we got good guys on the team still. And I mean, he's doing pretty well out there in New York. He got paid what he thinks he deserves, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah,
he's a really good guy. I mean, he set up a really cool fund for with the Nashville Humane Association, so he's real into making sure dogs and cats get adopted and get put in good families and stuff like that. So he's a really good guy in the community as well.
That's what I hear. Well, it sucks to lose a guy that's a community guy and is a good player as well. It's got the perfect package. But hey, it is what it is, right? It's all business.
He also caught the last ball from Tom Brady, 'in a Patriots uniform. So
How about that?
Wow, that's interesting, Steph. I
like
put that one on a graphic this week. So let's head over to the NFL games of the week. We got the number one game of this week.
Yeah,
it's a historic game of this week. I think this is the first time that this has ever happened from what the information that you got me, Don.
Yeah.
Or it hasn't happened often where it's two 5-0 teams playing. Man, this is the Super Bowl game right there. If you had to pick, I know they're in the same conference, but if you had to pick a Super Bowl right now, the Steelers and the Titans, man. I think this is really going to be your measuring stick, though. Can Derrick Henry bully them boys on defense?
Yes.
And Devin Bush is out now too.
Yeah,
so that makes it a little easier. Yeah. Who you got in that, Josh?
I've been asked this question quite a bit, and my predictions this year have been so bad that I am done giving predictions. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
but you can't go against
for sure.
Can't go against the team that you're currently helping right now versus your.
I about to say there's one team that signs my paycheck. So
there you go.
There you go. I bet you got some interesting looks at that this week too. So, we'll kind of put the feather in the cap if they win that game.
Hey, just now that we're talking about that, how does your mom deal with games like that when Titans are playing the Steelers?
Well, luckily, I mean, this is my second year with the Titans, and last year they only played in the preseason.
Okay.
And as I'll say, preseason doesn't matter.
Right.
Just get some good reps in. So knowing my mom, I'm assuming she'll be wearing a Steelers t-shirt and have a terrible towel and will be cheering against me.
Oh,
so.
gotcha.
Hey, it's only right. She ain't getting a paycheck from him, but
Right,
you are.
right. That makes sense.
She's not getting paid by him, so yeah.
All right, that's
Mom,
cool.
it's okay if you cheer for the Steelers and against me. It's fine.
So let's head back over there. All right.
Now that second game, that's the one that's stressing me out because I got both starting quarterbacks on my fantasy team.
Conflict. I don't think you choose against Russell Wilson, though. I really don't think you do.
I may have to this week.
Oh, why?
I think the Cardinals have a better defense right now than Seattle does.
Well, what are the Cardinals going to do with Isaiah Simmons? Because now you got Chandler hurt.
Right.
Do you slide him in there?
Well, I tell you, last week I was wondering what it was going to be like with Chandler out, and that defense went nuts with turnovers.
Did you see Buda Baker, how small he is,
God.
man? He's like a torpedo.
Man,
when he had that interception, I was like, dang.
His numbers were through the roof for me. He's on my fantasy team too.
And I wasn't huge on Buda Baker when he got paid because I was like, well, you got somebody on the Titans that's the interception leader right now in Kevin Byard.
Right.
Y'all need to pay that man.
That's right.
That dude, anytime there's a ball in his vicinity, you can almost count that he's going to intercept it. But they were comparing it to this and that. But I've seen a lot of arguments for why Kevin Byard is 10 times better than Buda Baker, and I tend to agree with that. Turnovers are a huge factor in deciding games, and I think we'd be stupid to overlook that. But Buda Baker is all over the field. He's another one of those Isaiah Simmons kind of guys, but we really haven't seen an impact of Isaiah Simmons, so hopefully we get to see that too, because the Panthers should have drafted him too if I had to play couch GM. Maybe I'll change my name instead of couch quarterback, the couch GM. So all right, next game on the list, Bears and the Rams. Whoever thought the Rams were going to do this good?
And who thought Nick Foles was going to be leading the Bears?
That's very true. So I got Nick Foles over Jared Goff. And
I bet you do.
As you might have heard, Josh, I'm not a big Jared Goff fan. I just don't see what the hype is on this dude when you got 3 of the best receivers on your team.
Yeah.
Actually,
Robert Woods is
2.
questionable this week with a groin injury from practice, so he's questionable right now.
Man, I just don't. I don't see it, man. But anyways, I got the Bears winning on that one.
Okay.
I love Jalen though. It's hard to go against my boy. Have you talked to Jalen when you was at Florida State, Josh? Did you get a chance to interact with him?
No, I interact with players more with the Titans than I did between Vandy and Florida State combined. So like where our video office was at Florida State, we were kind of away from where the players were, so they didn't come by too often unless they needed something. So I think I'm maybe other than like a hello, I don't think I ever talked to Jalen in any sort of fashion.
Do you remember when he got benched that game because he was fighting somebody in practice?
I do not remember that actually. No.
Yeah, there's a.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Was he benched or I can't remember. I just know that they were practicing at Doak Campbell that day, and he pissed Jimbo off, and Jimbo came and he's like, "I'm not going to tolerate it."
I know. Yeah, that was one of.
Was it the scrimmage?
August scrimmage. Yeah, it was an August
okay.
scrimmage. That's the only time they practiced in Doak.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he got benched for it, but that might have been the year that he. No, I don't think he was benched for it. So.
I know he's a hothead, but it is what it is. That's what makes him good. So Bears and the Rams to go ahead and finish out the week. What are you guys thinking, man? I got the Titans, I got the Seahawks, and I got the Bears edging this one out.
Yeah, definitely got the Titans over the Steelers. I do like the Bears. Man, you're killing me with that middle game. I think the Seahawks win, but I think the Cardinals are going to make it a game. I mean, really close game.
It's scary watching Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf being so good now, too.
I know.
Not too bad for a tight end, as they said.
Yeah.
Who you got, Josh, for those last two games?
I'll refrain from a prediction on that first one.
Yeah.
And then I got a offensive shootout, but Seahawks going to win that game, I think. And then I'm going to go with the Rams. I think the Rams are at home. I think they got a defense that's good enough to combat against what the Bears the lack on the offensive side of the ball. And I actually think Jared Goff is better than you think he is. I think part of that is Sean McVay's system has definitely lent its hand to Jared Goff.
There it is.
I think so. I mean, I think there's other places that he may not do as well, but I actually think Jared Goff's not a bad quarterback. I'm up on him more than I was when he got drafted. But they got really good weapons there. They got 3 really good running backs, 2 insanely good receivers, and they can get Tyler Higbee going. That could be some issues for the Bears. So
it's just I did an episode last year and how a similar because I never was a big Matt Ryan fan, and when he won MVP, it was just like it was one of those MVP awards where I was like, everybody else did worse than you, so you had to give it to somebody. But I don't know him and
those numbers.
You compare the numbers and they're scary. I could see with my eyes. And then I was like, let me go to the stats. And the stats are just like eerily, like if you break it down from the games that Matt Ryan missed one year and Jared Goff missed, and you just kind of combine them, it's scary how similar they are as far as production. So I do think Jared Goff, though, I had to give him a leg up. I do think Jared Goff, in the grand scheme of things, if I had to start a team between Matt Ryan in his prime and Jared Goff, it would be Jared Goff. Because I think that he's doing more with less versus having Julio Jones on your team and Austin Hooper and all these other dudes on your team for years and years and years. And Devontae Freeman being a beast. I mean, granted, Jared Goff did have
Todd
Gurley for all those years. Me and my dad actually saw Todd Gurley in high school back in North Carolina. So, and he was just destroying people. But yeah, that's kind of funny. You see it differently than I do, but as a quarterback, I'm just looking with my eyes.
Yeah.
And like I was telling Don and the guys, the only quarterback that I've been wrong about in years was Cam Newton. I thought he was going to be complete butt cheeks, and he ended up being pretty good. So,
I'll say.
Yeah. Shout out to all the Carolina fans that are still haters too. Y'all blame every time they lost a game, it was because of Cam Newton. It's Cam. We need to get rid of Cam. Now y'all got Teddy Bridgewater. How you feel?
Hey, they're 3-3.
Yeah.
So.
Who's their running back?
And they're doing it without Christian McCaffrey. So
that's what I'm saying. Who's their running back?
Exactly. They're doing it without him, and their whole first round, their whole draft was defensive players.
I ain't gonna co-sign that one. I think that's what they're lacking, though, because Robbie Anderson has been a beast this year.
Yeah,
and I think he's going to be a really good mentor for DJ Moore, because DJ Moore was like really inconsistent, but you could tell that he has a lot of talent when he came from Maryland. So, who knows?
We'll have to ask your dad how he feels about that.
My dad is brutally honest about the Panthers.
He is.
Hey, Dad, if you're in the chat, go ahead and just go off. The division leaders in the NFL. Hey, this is not any surprise for any of these teams. I think, except for the Eagles.
Well, somebody has to be in the lead.
For the worst have you ever seen a division this bad to start?
Not this bad. This is awful.
I believe this could turn the ship around if they start Jalen Hurts. For some reason,
absolutely it would, but they're not going to do that.
For some reason, when you look at the game, it even looks like the line blocks better for Jalen Hurts when he's in.
The thing is, the past couple weeks, what they've been doing with Carson, they have actually let him play, and it looked like last year after his injuries and everything, they were protecting him. He didn't want to run as much, didn't want him to get hurt because they didn't want to lose their franchise quarterback. They're turning him loose now. I think because Jalen Hurts is there, they're not worried like they were. They're like, okay, go play your game. You get hurt, we got Jalen Hurts. I don't know. It's just weird, but that's how it seems to me right now.
When me and Heather were watching the game the other night, and he was rolling out trying to be Russell Wilson, and he just looked like an old man trying to do it. I'm like, bro, and then throwing across your body, which is the number one rule as a quarterback. You never throw across your body. And it was almost intercepted between three defenders. I think he did that like 3 times that game.
That was crazy.
But Travis Forgum, man.
Oh.
To pick him up from Wawa at the cash register. My man's going crazy. So, I don't know. That's a very interesting division. That's one I don't even want to touch with a 10-foot pole. That's ugly.
But the other
over under 6.5 wins for the NFC East champion.
Yeah, you're right about on
Somebody
target.
Somebody could
man.
be a champion having 6 wins.
It's either going to be 6 or 7. You're absolutely on target. You know it,
man. So at the North, we got the Steelers 5-0. The South, I it's okay. I just don't. You know what? One thing I don't like, Josh, that the Titans did that really disappointed me is when y'all changed those jerseys. Because there was nothing like those light blue jerseys with the white pants with the white helmets. I'm like, those are the best jerseys. Like, there's a picture of Oregon quarterback. Why can't I think of his name? There he is, Mariota.
Yep. And
he was like dropped back in the pocket, and he had the jersey on. I was like, man, that looks sick. I almost bought like a little fat head just to put it in the room of that. I'm like, because those jerseys are sick. You know what? It would make it better if you guys went back to white helmets. If you went back to white helmets, I think I would forgive them a little bit. Because I do like the new design. It's just with those dark blue helmets. Even if they had light blue helmets, I don't like logos like this where they have dark colors on a dark helmet. I don't know. It's just weird to me. But anyways, that's enough griping about me and being a designer and looking at jerseys.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to send you something, Josh. So me and my dad are going to start working on this project where we're going to redesign jerseys and possibly logos. So I'm going to have to hit you up with that one and you tell me what you think. Because I got this Buccaneers one that I'm really proud of. I went back and I did the Buccaneers logo where he had the knife in his mouth.
Yes.
And I took the feather out because I'm like, they're not the Cavaliers. They're the Buccaneers. So why does he have a feather in his hat? And I started looking up pictures of like Buccaneers and seeing what they actually look like.
Right.
I ain't never seen one. I'm like, it's like the Tampa Bay Musketeers. When did this ever happen? But yeah, I cleaned it up and it looked pretty good. So I'm going to have to send that one out to you. I do like their colors right now too, by the way. The Bills, probably the best jerseys in the NFL.
Well, keep an eye on those Bills. They're 4-2 right now, but Miami's 3-3, man.
You know what my favorite stat of last week was, actually? If I could take back my CeeDee Lamb one, is when the Chiefs and the Bills went into their game with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes having 17 touchdowns and Patrick Mahomes having 15, and it correlated with their jersey numbers.
Right. Yeah, that was
I was
cool.
like, wait a second. So y'all are leading with combined touchdowns, but Josh Allen's got 17 touchdowns and Patrick Mahomes got 15. I don't know. I just look at stuff like that. I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. There's their jersey number. I like it. Chiefs sitting at 5-1. Nobody's really surprised about that. Have you got to look at tape of Patrick Mahomes and see how really good he is?
We got to experience that last season.
Yes, they did.
There's some throws that he makes that I don't think people give him enough credit for. He's the only quarterback in NFL history that can make a crossbody pass look perfect. He does like crossbody
with his eyes closed.
Yeah, exactly. No look crossbody passes and is right on the money. He's a freak. So is Jonnu Smith. I know we was talking about that before the show too. If he could stay healthy, he's a freak too. Not a freak in a bad way. A good one. Tight ends should be freaks. I want to see the age of the tight ends come back where it was like Tony Gonzalez and Antonio Gates. I want to see that back. I don't want to see him get injured like Zach Hurts. That's how I'm going to start calling him. Zach Hurts. I hurt my leg. The North, we got the Chicago Bears at 5-1. Who would have known?
No, that is a shocker.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Hey, the pack is 4-1, so they're right there.
Yeah, Tampa Bay. I have them at 13-3 as my record for this year. It's looking better. Thanks, Antonio. As long as you can keep your mouth shut, I think they'll be all right. But we've seen what Tom Brady does with really good receivers.
Yeah.
Okay. Eagles 2-4-1. We don't need to say anything about it.
Nope.
The worst team. Well, some of the worst teams in the worst divisions.
Yep. That's enough.
And the Seahawks sitting there at 5-0, number one in the division. That's still, to me, like the toughest division to play in.
Yeah,
it has been for like the last 10 years.
We got the Rams and Cardinals at 4-2, so they're right there with them.
Yep. All right, time to get into some to pay the bills. As we say right here. Go ahead, pay the bills. Got some new sponsors, some old sponsors coming in this week. So we'll go ahead and head over to the Cabin Rental Store.
All right. The Cabin Rental Store is your great Smoky Mountain luxury vacation cabin destination. They are privately owned and operated and offer a wide variety of Gatlinburg cabins that are sure to indulge all of your vacation desires. Nowhere else will you find cabins with the amenities that we offer for your family vacation, wedding, or corporate retreat. Visit them at thecabinrentalstore.com or call 877-301-0776.
All right. Thanks,
Aren't
Cabin.
they beautiful?
Man, if you look at these, look at that living room,
Oh, man.
Absolutely insane. It's nothing like being in a cabin in the wintertime, watching the snow on the trees. Just, hey, if I go out there, I don't want to have any encounters with any bears. You know what I'm saying? I'll make them a sandwich and give it to them, but don't meet me outside.
Yeah, that is
it's beautiful, though.
Beautiful
so
looking.
Shout out to Slade,
yeah.
Fuller, and Cabin Rental Stores for sponsoring the episode this week, along with our boys over at Stout.
All right. Stout Web Solutions is offering Go for Two podcast viewers a free website audit. Now, that's normally $500. Get more leads, grow your business, get your professional review this week, and remember to always go for two and make Stout Web Solutions your partner in all things digital. Visit stout.co/go-for-2 to request your free audit. Dude,
All right.
a free audit just for mentioning the show?
That's a
$500 audit for free?
$500 credit. So any of our business owners out there that want to get their website audited, see what they're doing wrong, see what they could be doing better to bring in more leads, to bring in more business, get with Paul and his team out at Stout Web Solutions. Thanks, Paul, for sponsoring the podcast this week again. And then the ever so famous Afloat posters.
Man, my sister got one for her birthday. What do you think of that poster?
What kind of poster?
She got a Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wish I knew it from the start.
Yeah, so it doesn't discriminate the kind of posters that he does. The HBCU reference chart poster that he's done has been like fantastic. A lot of people have been buying those as well. But hey, he just doesn't just do any of the licensed NFL teams, NCAA teams, soccer teams. Doesn't really discriminate against all of those. He could do anything. So I would suggest if you have a high school player, as you can see right there, will actually be out there from East Forsyth High School in North Carolina. But yeah, he can do player posters just like that for your high school player. Something that you can remember forever and forever. So shout out to any of the ADs that work at any of the high schools locally or not internationally, but domestically. we'll hook you up with some posters.
Absolutely.
All right. So,
And he can custom make posters too. I got a custom one hanging in my living room, man.
yeah.
All the Philly teams.
Well, I got an NCAA one behind me,
Yeah.
but I got the green screen right now.
Yeah.
But my dad, he had the Canadians winning 34
Oh, yeah.
championships instead of 24.
Yeah, I've
I'm
heard
like,
about that.
dang, all right. But he fixed it. He's going to fix it, send me a new one.
Nice,
But,
nice.
yeah, since the Tampa Bay Lightning won against my team, the Dallas Stars, getting that poster was bittersweet.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
bet.
We weren't supposed to be there, okay?
That's right.
So I wasn't mad that Tampa Bay came and smashed us, but they've been the best team for like the last 3 years. Shout out to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Congratulations. Bringing a chip home to Tampa Bay. Maybe the MLB team might be able to do it.
Could be.
Maybe the football team might be able to do it. Would this be the first year that 3 major sports bring in a championship for their city?
No.
Has this been the... Well, let's think about it like this. Has there ever been 3 major sports teams from their perspective sport from one city in all their championships?
Not one that comes to mind.
We might need to
Not
look that
3,
up.
maybe 2, but not 3.
That might be a stats guru research
We'll have
item
to
right
look
there.
into that one.
All right.
The Pirates and the Steelers won
Yeah,
the World Series and
exactly.
Super Bowl in the late 70s.
Yep.
The last one I can remember.
Yep.
Ah.
Yep, I can remember 2. That was one of them. But I can't remember 3.
So, of course, we got Josh here.
Josh Karadeema.
Josh Karadeema. I called
Nashville,
him I called him
Tennessee.
Kamicha earlier. That was so rude of me. I'm seriously think I made like a Final Fantasy character with the last name Kamicha for whatever reason. So I don't know why that was in my head. Close, but no dice, right? But it's all good. Hey, we got Josh here from the Tennessee Titans. Man, I've been so excited about the show to ask you some questions to see, what goes on in an organization, what makes them tick. Is it you that's making them at 5-0 right now?
Well, I'm sure everybody plays.
Not me. No.
Everybody plays a part. That would be my guess.
Yeah, it's the whole organization, I believe.
Right. Right.
So we got a couple questions for you, but first we want to go ahead and flash your little resume up here.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
man, this is interesting because I got a couple of questions about this. Graduated from Florida State in 2016. Hey, go Noles, man, all day long.
I know, baby. Yeah.
He supported 14 conference championship teams and 2 national championship teams. Now we got a question. I think Don has a question about that one.
No, I just wanted a little more detail on that. What 2 national championships?
So in 2015, I believe, we won women's soccer national championship.
Okay.
I did more than just football at Florida
Right.
State. We did football, women's soccer, baseball, softball, and women's beach volleyball was our big
Nice.
5. But we
Yep.
also did some stuff with women's tennis, and we technically support basketball as well, but we don't do a ton with that. And then 2017, our softball team won the Women's College World Series.
Yep.
And then there's conference championships all over the place mixed in with those.
Awesome.
I remember, I forget her name. My apologies, but when she made that insane catch.
Jessie Warren, she's a beast.
Yeah. Me and my wife were watching that game.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, I used to do something like that in high school." My wife was a beast. Let's not get it,
She
let's
was.
not get it twisted.
Yeah.
Field hockey and softball. But
I've seen the field hockey stats. They are amazing.
yeah, man. Heather Hess used to go to Syracuse University.
Yep.
The field hockey goalie. It's time for me to hype my
Okay,
wife up.
go
Here
ahead.
we go. One of the best field hockey goalies
Yes.
of all time in NCAA.
All time.
If you talk to her, she would never say that she is. She hates talking about herself. But let's think
But
about it.
that's
She
why
was
we
a
do it.
pioneer
Yep.
for the Syracuse field hockey team. Without the team that went and won the national championship, it had to come down
Yep.
to that team that went to the Final Four for the first time in school
First
history
time.
back in 2008, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I should know this. But,
Okay.
I think it's either 2007 or 2008. She actually has her flag that gets flown at the stadium.
Yep.
That has her little picture on there and everything. It's dope, man.
It is.
I'm super proud. And the girl that actually played for the USA team was a girl from her old high school that she used to coach that she actually helped recruit to go to Syracuse.
Nice.
Alyssa Manley. So, hey, man, it's all in the family here. So,
Okay.
but yeah, man, that's super impressive,
that
dude.
is awesome.
When you sent me that last night, I was like, holy crap, this is awesome right here. Currently with the Titans, also work for FSU,
Yep.
the Colts, the
Yeah.
Indianapolis Colts, and Vanderbilt University.
Now, how did that transition with the work you did with Vanderbilt and the Colts?
Yeah, so I graduated from Florida State in 2016, and then I stayed there for 2 more years and did video through 2018.
Okay.
And then my then girlfriend, now my wife, got into grad school here at Belmont. So I decided to kind of leave Florida State. I was kind of ready. That was when Jimbo left and the tackle transition was happening, and I thought this was a good time to kind of
You got out at the right time.
reset a little bit. So I knew the video coordinator from the Colts, and he offered me a training camp internship. So I went up to the Colts and worked there for a little over a month. Worked like probably close to 60 hours a week.
Wow.
For the Colts, and then came back to Nashville, and I did some stuff with Vanderbilt for a season. And then the Titans brought me on just after the 2019 draft, and I've been with the Titans ever since.
So, question for you. So, if you were with the Colts, did you ever get to work the NFL Combine and help with that?
No, I was only with the Colts from I think July 20th through August 22nd was I was only there for just training camp portion of it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
That would have been cool if you got to work at the Combine too. So, but
the Combine's actually done mostly by NFL Network, and the networks do most of the Combine. The Combine's used at least for video guys. That's more of like a social meet and greet. They discuss different backdoor policies when it comes to video and how it has to be coded and whatnot. So, but yeah, that's mostly the NFL Network and ESPN kind of do that, and then coaches help out when they want to, and they want to see specific drills and stuff like that. But yeah, that's mostly a TV thing. The video guys like me don't really do a whole lot to the Combine.
Gotcha. I always wonder how the back workings
exactly
happen. You know, all those meetings and how everything gets set up. As a production guy, you know, I'm doing this little stuff, but you know, I can just imagine how much goes into the back end, how many people have to be involved. I'm sure it's a lot easier when you have some help, but you know what I'm saying? It's that's pretty awesome, man. 20 different colleges, 36 different work trips over 7 years.
That is amazing.
So that's with all the sports that you're involved with, I'm guessing as well.
But still.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Busy guy.
I mean, I think the only ACC school I didn't go to is University of Virginia. I have been every other ACC school though, except for that one.
Wow,
that's incredible, man.
Who's your favorite team that you've actually done work for outside of the ones that you were hired at?
Like somewhere I've been that I really liked, or
yeah.
This is gonna be weird from Florida State guy, but Clemson football is super cool to go to. I've been lucky enough to see 2 games at Clemson. And I was on the sideline for one of them, and the crowd's electric at Clemson. Then running down the hill and touching the rock is pretty cool. Clemson was a really cool atmosphere. Their fans are actually very genuinely nice fans too, for the most part. They were very, very helpful trying to get me where I needed to go in certain places like that. So I really have a lot of respect for Clemson. I love Dabo Swinney. But yeah, Clemson's probably my favorite place that I've been to, as an away, travel party kind of person.
Gotcha.
That's cool.
Gotcha.
Can you imagine?
I know, man. I can only imagine.
Yeah, that's about it.
I can only imagine.
Oh, don't say that.
Oh, man, that's cool, though. I mean, I understand why they're one of Florida State's rivals, but every Clemson fan that I've met, I'm just like, hey, man, we can do a handshake right here, before COVID, actually. We can do a handshake and be like, all right, man, that was a great game.
Yep.
But we go down to the swamp. I don't know what it is, man. Let me tell you this story, Josh. Right? I was at Starbucks when I used to drink Starbucks. Got my pumpkin spice latte. No, I'm just kidding.
That time of year.
Hey, I'm sitting in the drive-thru, right? I used to have a sticker in the back of my car that said Golden Knowles.
Yep.
And the guy honked at me. And I'm like, who's honking? I'm literally in line. There's nothing I could do. Let me pick up my damn coffee and continue my day. He proceeds to put his hand out and give me the bird.
Mm-hmm.
And then I turned around. I said, what was that for? He said, the rivalry continues. I was like, what? And then I looked at my rearview mirror at his front license plate, and it was a alligator. The gator logo.
Gators.
I said, oh. Yeah, so I proceeded to play the Florida State fight song real loud in my car as I drove off, chopping
Man.
as I'm coming out of the drive-through. I'll tell you another fan base is really weird is Wake Forest. For whatever reason, they hate Florida State too. With a passion. I mean, because you know me, Don. I get the whole get up, man.
Oh, yes.
I get the face paint and everything.
Yep.
I'm taking pictures at Syracuse of little kids, handing out little candies. But for whatever reason, at Wake Forest, it's absolutely like walking in the swamp, in the mini swamp.
Wow.
That's what I used to call it. Coming into the mini swamp. So, hey, you been out to Wake Forest too?
Yeah, I've been there for I think it was a football game. It gets a little cloudy,
hazy, yeah.
Which
A
one
little
does
hazy,
you
all
wear,
the stuff that
so.
you've done. But you probably were at one of the games I was at, most likely.
Yeah, the Wake Forest game I went to, I want to say was 2017, but can't be 100% sure. It was the away game after I graduated, so that's what I remember.
Okay, well, never mind. That's way beyond when I was there because I moved here in 2012. Dude, everything's running together. Like, I mean, 8 years, me and my wife got married, and it's like, holy crap, just time flew by. Like, I just blinked and everything was here. So, But yeah, man, these are insane stats, man. I'm gonna call them stats. I'm not gonna call it your resume. These are your stats, and you're only gonna just keep adding on to this, man. Hopefully, you're kind of in the mindset of like, hey, I would like to stay in one place for a while because all the traveling that you've done, especially during the COVID thing. But yeah, it's nothing like just having to stay in one place and be loyal to one area. Would you go back to Florida State if they ever offered you an opportunity?
It would have to be the right opportunity. I think me and my wife are at the point now where I don't think Florida is really like we like this area of Tennessee that we're in right now, but we're also at a stage where we have some flexibility where if a good opportunity came by and we had the chance to move somewhere else that we haven't been yet, it could be a cool opportunity. So I think for the time being, I don't know if I'd go back to Florida State, but again, it'd have to be the right opportunity and the perfect kind of setting, I would guess.
I always wonder what it would be like to like do a job like yours where you have to travel so much too. Does she get to travel with you, or
she does not? No. So when I was at Florida State, if you were married and you were like a senior staff member, there was always one football game a year that they called the wives trip. So a lot of times, like the wives could come on a trip a year. Like I think one year, Wake Forest was our wives trip in 2017, actually.
Yeah, so especially with all the COVID stuff going on, there's probably not any extras.
Yeah,
you know.
So, but yeah, I mean, like I can get tickets to games. So if she wants to go to the game, I can usually get some pretty cheap tickets where like she and a friend can go or whatever like that.
Well, I know we have some questions that came through Facebook for you, and then we'll lead into Don's questions because I know he has a few for you too. Kind of wrap up the end of the show here. So, Josh, what is it like when you guys beat the Patriots and Brady?
That's off.
That was awesome.
That's off Facebook.
Yeah. I don't travel with the Titans. I just work home games for the Titans. It's a very restricted travel schedule or travel roster, especially now with COVID. It's even more restricted than usual. So, like, there are guys that were traveling for years that aren't traveling this year. So, but I was watching at home. I mean, that game week was like part of my job is I set out 2 huge speakers for practice, and then we play music and stuff like that. Well, we set out a 3rd speaker for that week. And we pumped in some crowd noise and stuff like that. Wow. So we were really, really prepared for it. And I think, I felt pretty confident going into that game. I mean, having Coach Vrabel play for the Patriots for years, obviously in the Belichick system, I think we were ready for it. And I think we had a team that everybody was kind of sleeping on us. We were technically the 6th seed, and we kind of just snuck in there at the end. I think Pittsburgh was the 7th. We had to win week 16 and 17 in order to get to that spot. So, but yeah, it was awesome. It was really cool to beat them. And I mean, the best part was the taking the delay of game. and then taking the false start, and then doing the hard count to get them to jump offside and bleed almost 2 minutes of clock late in the fourth quarter, which is something that we practiced one time in August.
I was wondering about that. That's amazing.
I mean, that was cool. I mean, yeah. I mean, there were a few things that beat the Patriots last season. So
yeah, and then moving on against Baltimore, that just, man, the hype was on Lamar and how they were such an offensive juggernaut, and man, you guys just shut them down. That was amazing.
Yep.
I actually watched a lot of the first time the Steelers played the Titans that year was the first time Lamar was really shut down. So we kind of took a lot of keys from that game. I did quite a few cut-ups involving the Steelers film and a couple other little areas.
Okay.
In preparation of that game.
Awesome.
I'm sure you were there during the time when Lamar was at Louisville, just like tearing it up, man. And I don't understand why when he got to the NFL that people thought that this man was just a running back. I'm like, dude, I remember when he came to Florida State and gave us the Wally mopping of a lifetime, and he didn't even do it with his legs mostly. It was like he was throwing dots down the field. I
Funny
never understood
story about that 63-20 game. That's the first game that I filmed at Florida State.
Wow.
I was just doing other things my first 2 years there, but that was the first game I filmed. I was in the end zone, and my end zone was right around the fans. That place was buzzing going to the game. They had a Muhammad Ali tribute. I looked at that.
Oh, I know.
The guy who was next was like, this has just got a whole lot tougher after they played that. And then Corso picked Louisville, and that place went crazy because game day was live in the stadium for that game.
Uh-huh.
So
I didn't remember the score, but I
nuts.
knew it was a Wally mopping, and I was like, yeah, this Lamar Jackson guy is not just a running back. Not like when Denard Robinson played for Michigan and all that, and he transferred over to playing or running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars and being completely butt cheeks too. So,
well, you mentioned that game filming in the end zone and everything, and how amazing that was. What would you say is your most memorable game at Florida State that you worked?
Oh man, I think so. I didn't film my first 2 years at Florida State. I was a runner or just assisting in other areas, like whether it's running cards for either me or the opposing team. So honestly, a good thing leading into my favorite game, I learned to control my emotions. They're all inward.
Okay.
In coach's video, it's kind of not classless, but you don't cheer when you're filming. Like you're working the game. You're not there to be a fan. You work the game. So the most I'll do is a little fist pump if I got like somebody that one of my FSU like workers right next to me. It'll be a fist pump, but that's it.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter if it's Florida, Miami, whoever. Like we respect. We will help out the other coaches' video people as much as we can.
Okay.
Same with the Titans and Vandy and all that. But the most memorable game, I'll never forget it, is the block at the Rock in 2016. FSU went up 20-13, and late in the fourth quarter, we punted from inside our own 15, and Miami, Braxton Berrios, I think was a returner for Miami, returned it, and our punter tackled him at it was a great return, tackled him at the 15-yard line. They had like a 4th and 4 with 2 minutes to go, and what was that? Brad Kaya threw a fade into the end zone for a touchdown.
he was so talented, man. Yeah. I don't know what happened to him.
He was with the Colts practice squad for a while when I was up there with the Colts. So, but I looked at the guy who was next to me, who was running my cards, and I said, "We've practiced all week. DeMarcus Walker's going to block the extra point." And Michael Badgley had not missed an extra point in his college career to that point, and then he blocked the extra point, and that was wild. I mean, Miami is pretty much Doak South at this point, so the cheers were loud for Florida State at that point.
Sure.
And then Jimbo called a couple really good plays. Dalvin and DeAndre Francois were just running, and they got a couple first downs and killed it. So
I used to call Dalvin Cook
that game. That game was the hardest to control my emotions for sure, but also my most memorable. I mean, I think Francois was clearly like it should have been a targeting penalty on a Miami player, and it wasn't called. Like he got knocked out for a couple plays. Like there's a lot of. I mean, that's a bad blood rivalry, and to go in there and win like that was pretty awesome for me. Like driving to the stadium buses, there were fans that broke through the barricade and started shaking our buses. I mean, there's kids that are 4 years old flipping the bird at our buses. Like, that place is wild.
I bet.
It's a great atmosphere, though. Like, I love being there. That was awesome.
Cool. Love that story.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Nelson might be joining here in a little bit. But there's a good question that came from Facebook for you. Titans go to the Super Bowl. Would you be able to go?
I would. Yep, that's the one travel. So we talked about that last year.
Okay.
Because they do a week's worth of practice, they need all hands on deck. So, like, last year, I didn't travel last year as well, but they told me, like, hey, like, if we make the Super Bowl, just have it on your radar that you would travel. I was like, okay, 1 week at a time. This is pre-Patriots game. Like, we're just going a week at a time. Like, I didn't. So, but yeah, I would be able to travel to the Super Bowl if the Titans made the Super Bowl, because they have to do practice down there, and we need everybody, all hands on deck for practice.
Makes sense. Awesome. I'm going to back up a little bit here just so the audience gets a little more background on you. So you grew up in Jacksonville, and your mom was a big Pittsburgh fan. So what sports or teams did you follow growing up?
Pittsburgh Steelers were the biggest ones, for sure.
Okay.
We were going to Steelers sports bars to watch games with only Steelers fans. I mean, we had Sunday ticket at times. Like, we'd go to all the Steelers Jag games, which ironically the Steelers would only win when the entire family would go. So the whole family had to go, or none of us were going. It was that simple.
That's weird.
That's something else.
So now I have to go to a Steelers game with my wife.
Me and my dad the first couple times, and we didn't, and they got smoked both times. And then my mom and my sister started going. We started winning, so the whole family go. So
that's pretty
cool.
Cool.
Probably the most popular team that we're on. And then I had a few other teams that I followed throughout high school. Like, one of my really good friends was a Ohio State Buckeyes fan, so I'd watch a lot of Ohio State games. And then when Crosby was drafted, I started watching the Penguins a lot.
Okay.
And stuff like that. I've gone through quite a few teams now.
So you're a late bloomer with hockey too.
Yeah, well, he was drafted in 2006, so for this 2006 season. So I would have been 14, and I started watching in probably about 2007, his second season. So, and then they won the Cup in 2009. So the first of now 3 since he got drafted.
Sidney Crosby, the most talented guy ever that does some stupid stuff. Nice. Every once in a while. It's just like, why do you need to do that cheap shot? Why? You're so good. There's no need for that. I think that's what really pisses people off sometimes. It's like, why'd you do that? You didn't need to, but you did it because he's a little hot-headed sometimes. But one of the most talented players that can't control his emotions. Sometimes it drives me nuts. And then like Ovechkin just gets under his skin too. So, I hate you. They both hate each other equally. That's okay.
You take another one from Facebook before I go.
Yeah, so if you could videotape any team from any decade, who would it be?
Any team from any decade. I mean, I'll stick with football here because that's mainly what I do, and as my dog starts barking, sorry.
That's okay.
We can barely hear him. That's good.
Yeah. Any team from any decade. I mean, it would be hard to say not to film the 70s Steelers because they won 4 Super Bowls in 6 years. I mean, that team is littered with Hall of Fame talent and more talent that should be in the Hall of Fame that isn't in the Hall of Fame because there's so many other Hall of Famers that I guess you can only have so many.
Right.
Like Donnie Shell finally got elected, thankfully. I mean, that dude was a beast.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's finally going in as a senior committee member. So it's hard to say 70 Steelers, but
So check this out. I got kind of a follow-up question to that. Okay, since you're technically from Jacksonville, right? You remember the late 90 Jaguars where it was Mark Brunell, Jimmy Smith, Keenan McCardell, Fred Taylor, and that defense was stacked?
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you think
1999?
Yeah. Do you think that if you were doing their video production and assistance for their team, that they could have went even further than they did?
I mean, I don't know.
It's kind of a talk yourself up kind of question.
Yeah. And I mean, I assume you're referring to like 97 through like 99.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Mark Brunell's, I mean, not that there's like a ton of them, but Mark Brunell's kind of one of the better left-handed quarterbacks that ever play in the league.
Right. It's my favorite quarterback of all time. Got his jersey hanging up in the closet.
Fred Taylor's amazing talent.
Yep.
He had thunder and lightning of Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell. I mean, Jacksonville was going crazy then. But, man, the Titans had their number that year. I mean, they battled a lot of adversity those first 2 years they were in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some of the stories are crazy with some of the – I mean, they in 97, Titans were playing in Memphis for home games. And in 1998, they were using Vanderbilt Stadium for home games.
Yeah,
so they finally got their home stadium that year. And there was just something about it. They had the Jags number that year. And no amount of film, I think, could have undid what the Titans could do to the Jags that season.
Yeah, Eddie George, man, all them guys, man. God.
Steve McNair, Javon Curse, Kevin Dyson,
Frank
Wycheck,
Frank Wycheck, yep. And we had Kyle Brady.
Oh, yeah.
Tight end. Kyle Brady was
yeah.
kind of the man, too, while he was there.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
He was one of the better blocking tight ends of the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yep. Wow.
So I know that with the Titans, you film practices and games for the coaches and the players to review.
Mm-hmm.
You probably get special requests from both sides. Which side's more demanding on the special requests, players or coaches?
Coaches, 100%.
Okay.
100% coaches. I mean, the kind of nickname for us is coaches video. I would say 99% of our requests come from coaches.
Okay. Awesome.
That's because players, their liaison to video for the most part is through the coaches. So if the players want something that, like, for instance, like for the Titans, the defensive backs, they want to have a cut up of all of their practice plays of like their individual period. They have we give them anywhere from like 4 to 15 minutes of individual period per practice, depending on kind of how the layout is going to be. And so we'll go in and we'll cut up by play the DB individual period, and then we'll number. So, okay, for instance, we have like 20 and 23 went this rep, and so we'll put that into the backdoor coding of our like little headings group, and then the next one's 46, 36, and then we will put them into a cut up. So each day they can go and they can look at their individual drills, and then if they want to, then if at that point if the coach or player wants to pull practice or game film, they can put that into that cut up as well. But yeah, almost all of our requests, I would say, come from coaches.
Okay.
Because then they kind of distribute the video that they want the players to watch, and that way the players aren't kind of going around watching unnecessary video. They're just watching video that the coach wants them to watch for that game plan week.
Okay. Well, obviously you like what you're doing as far as your job, but what would you say is the best part of the job? What's your favorite thing to do?
I mean, the interaction with the players and coaches is really awesome.
Okay.
But when it comes to the actual like job portion, I actually love really cutting and editing the video. So we use a different editing system than like your standard iMovie or Adobe. We don't really touch that stuff very often. We use a sports video editing system called XOS Digital. And so we're numbering plays because we'll stop and start the camera for every play to make things easier. And so we're putting stuff together. We're making cut ups for them. But yeah, I would say like whether it's the game or practice or a highlight, or not a highlight, more like a cut up or whatever is needed. I love doing that stuff on the computer, like downloading data and putting data on there so they can go and they can look exactly, okay, we can go to the Steelers, look at all their first 5 games of the year, and then they can pull all plays where it's 3rd and 1 through 3rd and 4 where a pass was thrown kind of thing.
Okay.
I just love kind of doing that kind of back end stuff. I like doing that back end stuff more than I enjoy like shooting practice, I would say.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome questions, Don.
Do we have any more that we want to throw up? Maybe one more or
So let's see. There's a couple good ones on here.
Okay.
Any advice for youngsters interested in a career as a videographer?
I mean, I would say like I started off doing video in high school. So like I would do, whether it was a class project or something with my church or whatever, I would just kind of do what I could. And obviously I watched sports like crazy. I was lucky enough that I got the opportunity to do a little bit of baseball filming for our high school team at the time.
Okay.
And then if you go to if kids in middle school or high school, I mean, I'm sure their coach would love having somebody, like you can go up to the head coach of a football team for sure and be like, hey, like I just want to film like the games, and the coach will 100% take it, because a lot of times it's a parent or an assistant coach or a student assistant coach that's going to film for high school. And if you have somebody that's dedicated to filming, that's a great opportunity for them to get started and kind of learn the basics of filming football. And then if you get to a point where you can go somewhere and try to film in college, a lot of times the video departments are hard to find, but they're almost all video coordinators that I know, so they could always use at least one or two more hands minimum.
Okay.
So some schools will pay you or off the bat, like Florida State, we'd pay all our students. Other schools, you work for free, but you just get to travel and you get some swag and stuff like that. But then eventually you can earn your way to it's called a scholarship. It's really just like anywhere from different schools different, but like I know one school gives a $5,000 stipend each semester that you work for them. So then you could use it however you choose. So whether you want to use it for tuition or you want to go out and have a good time on the weekend or whatever. So always seek out those video coordinators, but they're always willing to have people that are eager, that they don't have to teach how to film. That's a huge plus. Like I knew how to film going to Florida State, and I was way ahead of the curve that people who started with me at the same time. So
cool. Just
do the little things, and it'll pay off in the end for sure. And just be passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah, I feel the same way. YouTube and Google are powerful tools, man.
Yes, they are.
Last question for you, and then we're going to wrap up the show. This is going to be a quick one for you. Outside of the program that you use right now for all your video editing, which one would you say you had the most experience with? This also shout out to some of our younger viewers too, to kind of see where Josh got his start.
I've almost strictly used that specific sports video system. Like you will be surprised how little we use other stuff, but I have a little bit of experience with Adobe, the Adobe suite. So like After Effects, but I also have experience with iMovie. It just depends on what school you go to. Some schools are Mac based only. Some want to use PCs, stuff like that. But a good way to get started is if you have a Mac, just using the iMovie. It's pretty simple to use. It kind of gets you going, but it's kind of hard because like the two big video systems are Exos and DV Sport when it comes to sports video, and they're very different than what I was surprised at how the editing went. I thought it was going to be way more tedious than it was. It's a lot simpler than you would think it would be. So
yeah,
but I mean, if you know how to like just cut video and in your iMovies or your Adobe suite, or if you have Final Cut Pro, whatever, that'll go a long way in helping you once you get to kind of sports video.
Yeah, I started out pretty much the same way. iMovie, Windows Media Movie Maker, I believe that's what it was called.
Oh yeah, I've used that.
Yeah, and then I don't recommend this, but I kind of got my really good start in like better video editing with Sony Vegas, which is not an easy program to use whatsoever.
I used Vegas exclusively in high school. I loved Sony Vegas.
Sony Vegas, yeah. If you don't know what you're doing, though, you'd be lost in the sauce. And then recently I started using DaVinci Resolve, which is like a mirror between Adobe After Effects and Sony Vegas, like if they had a baby. But DaVinci Resolve is what a lot of and they have a free program.
Nice.
Like the whole suite is pretty much free. The only thing that you really had to pay for is like if you don't know how to create like your own, stinger animations and stuff like that, you'll have to do it in After Effects or whatever. But you can buy like plugins to help you along with a lot of stuff. But as a creator, I like starting from scratch. I don't want you to be able to see my stuff on somebody else's thing and vice versa. Like I want to be able to say, yeah, I created that, not somebody else. But yeah, DaVinci Resolve is another good one. So if you ever get to dabble in that, that's pretty much what I do all my editing and low level stuff in right now. So hey man, Josh, this is an excellent show, man. I learned a lot.
Thanks for having me out, guys. I appreciate it.
We appreciate your time. I know we ran over our normal schedule, but we kind of thought we would with questions from Facebook. And there was a lot of things we really wanted to know about what you do and how you got your start and all that. And I think it's a great show for our audience.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure, guys. Again, I appreciate you guys having me on. Give me a chance to kind of share what I know a little bit.
Yeah, it's cool getting the inside workings of.
Yeah.
So you gave us perspective from pretty much
Yeah.
where you started in high school, to where you are
college,
now, and now the football perspective from college to the NFL. So,
Yeah.
hey man, we wish you nothing but success. We wish you a Super Bowl championship.
Yes.
because that's who I picked.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
hey.
for sure.
Yeah, we want to be able to say we had somebody on the show that won a Super Bowl. So,
And then you got
yeah.
to come back after you win the Super Bowl and tell us
Yes.
how the festivities went.
I'll come back if we win Super Bowl. I'll come back.
All right, that sounds good.
So my prediction has to go through now.
All right,
You can't let Tom Brady get another ring, but if he does, we can't all be mad. I mean, he is Nick Fury getting all the Avengers together right now, bringing in Antonio Brown.
Super Bowl is in Tampa this year. So
Yeah.
That is true. I totally forgot about that as well.
as
So
long as they don't have to play.
they'd be the first team to play in their home stadium in the Super Bowl. It's never happened before.
Yep.
hey, it's looking quite good right
As
now.
long as he doesn't have to play the Bears again. He doesn't have to play Nick Foles.
Man, let's not talk about Nick Foles. Y'all be trashing Tom Brady when it comes to Nick Foles, man.
All right.
Man, Nick Foles is always there at the right time.
I
with
know.
things. So, with that being said, guys, appreciate Josh coming through.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Josh.
Facebook, the people on Twitch, the people on YouTube. Find us on Anchor and all that other good stuff. Links will be in the description of this video. And like we always say, it's never a gimme.
Always go for two.
Always go for two, guys. We'll catch you later.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Go For Two podcast. Follow us on Facebook and Anchor to keep up with the latest releases, news, and updates on the guys and all the current football news. If you liked what you heard and don't want to miss an episode, find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, and Spotify.